What is up, family? We have another Patreon request. We have the Amazing Digital Circus episode 9. I'm just joking. It's not 9. No 9. No 9 yet. Did the torture scene reveal that Jax killed Gangle? No. Gangle didn't get killed. Have I been watching the wrong... What?
In episode 8, Kane completely loses it and tortures each member of the cast with their personal worst nightmare.
Yeah.
He used their mind files, the scans of their subconscious that he admitted to having earlier in the episode, to find the exact thing that would break each of them. And every single one of these scenes tells us something about who these people really were before the circus. Let's go through every single one.
Oh, okay. We can do that.
Zubil's nightmare puts them in a dark room where a mountain of random toy parts and limbs drag them under while they're forced to stare at themselves in mirrors. And this is a direct reference to Toy Story. The scene where Andy tells Woody, "I don't want to play with you anymore," which is basically what the cast had just told Kane right before he started the torture. But knowing Kane, this wasn't a coincidence. He pulled this from Zubil's mind files, meaning somewhere in Zubil's subconscious, this image already existed. Their whole arc is about body dysmorphia. Nothing ever feels like it fits, so they keep trying to swap parts, chasing a version of themselves that finally feels complete. In almost every episode, Zubil is changing something about themselves or complaining about how they look. So Kane took the one thing that already torments Zubil every day and made it 100 times worse. Random parts sticking to their body, impossible to remove, becoming part of who they are, whether they want it or not. Zubil had finally started to accept their body after spending the entire series trying to control how they look and feel in their own skin. And being forced to watch that control get taken away piece by piece is the worst thing Kane could have done. Now, remember earlier in the episode, Kane said he made their avatars from their mind files? So every avatar in the circus is based on something real about the person inside it. If Kane built that from a brain scan, then Zubil in real life probably had problems with their body. They keep looking up at that light, trying to escape, panic in their eyes. But the worst moment is the look on their face when they see themselves in the mirror. For Pomni's nightmare, Kane brings back Gummy Goo, but not the cartoon version she was friends with. He turns Gummy Goo into a realistic crocodile that attacks her along with 2 other crocodiles that are probably Max and Chad, his bandit friends from episode 2. This is the most personal thing Kane could have done to Pomni. Back in episode 2, she finds Gummy Goo in the test level, having a full existential crisis after realizing he's just an NPC. She sat with him, told him his life still had meaning, convinced him to come back to the circus with her. She made a real connection with him. And then the second Gummy Goo stepped into the circus, Kane deleted him right in front of her face.
Yeah, that was messed up. That was wrong.
That moment broke Pomni more than anything else in the series. So for the torture, Kane goes into her mind files, finds that memory, and turns it into a weapon. He doesn't bring back the Gummy Goo that Pomni loved.
Yeah.
He brings back what Gummy Goo actually is. Under the cartoon skin, a crocodile. A real dangerous animal that wants to eat her. Kane is telling Pomni that the friend she cried over was never real. The connection she thought they had doesn't exist. She spent an entire episode bonding with something that, at its core, is just a bunch of code shaped like a reptile. And if you strip away the cartoon layer, there's nothing there that would ever care about her. Kane is telling her she cried over nothing. She got attached to a 3D model. And that hits even harder when you remember that Pomni is trapped in a world where nothing is real. Gummy Goo was the first time Pomni chose to believe that something in this fake world could still be meaningful. And Kane's torture is designed to destroy that belief completely.
Damn, I never even thought how deep that was. That's actually, I mean, yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's deep.
Gangles gets trapped inside a phenakistoscope, one of those old spinning animation discs from the 1800s, where images loop over and over. And the images spinning around her are her own expressions, cycling faster and faster, until she gets hit by a truck. The phenakistoscope matters because it's one of the earliest forms of animation ever made. And in real life, Gangle wanted to be a mangaka. Episode 4 told us she had to give up that dream and take a full-time fast food job instead. So the device that's torturing her is the thing she loved. And the expressions cycling around her reflect her life in the circus, always switching between the comedy mask and the tragedy mask. Never allowed to feel what she really feels. The spinning gets faster because you can't keep up anymore. And then it hits you. Now, this isn't the first time Gangle gets hit by a vehicle in this show. But in episode 8, the exact same thing is played as real trauma. But this is where things get interesting. Jax's backstory has been hinted since episode 7 to involve a car accident. The flashing images showed him driving at night before something goes wrong.
I have no idea why these subtitles are on. I didn't even... Wasn't even paying attention, and they're right there in front of me.
So you've got two characters in the same cast with fears tied to vehicles. What if Gangle's fear of getting hit actually means something? What if she was involved in what happened to Jax? Maybe they knew each other before the circus. Maybe they were in the same accident. Or maybe it's separate, but the show keeps linking them for a reason. Jax's nightmare was probably the most visually shocking one for most viewers. 3 silhouettes appear and laugh at him. And if you look closely, they're Pomni, Kaufmo, and Ribbit.
Damn, I never noticed that. Wow. Never even noticed that.
And those 3 are the only people in the circus Jax actually considers friends. That's his nightmare.
Oh,
the
no,
people
actually,
he cares about most turning on him.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
they
yeah.
peel his skin off.
I kind of
like
do
a
remember.
banana.
Yeah, I
the
remember
rabbit
that.
suit comes off, and underneath there's this yellow thing. Now, back in episode 5, Jax was calling himself peak male performance, talking about his rabbit body. He loves that suit. It gives him confidence, and it lets him be the version of himself he's comfortable showing to other people. But underneath it, there's something he clearly thinks isn't enough. That's why he's been pushing people away this whole time. If they never get close enough, they'll never see what's underneath. He bullies Gangle so she keeps her distance. He picks fights with Zubil for the same reason. He tries to push Pomni away in episode 6 by telling her their friendship is fake. All of it is to make sure nobody gets close enough to peel the suit off.
Yeah,
Think
that we
about his
know.
arc across the whole series. In episode 5, he starts opening up to Pomni for the first time. And the second he realizes he's being vulnerable, he panics and shuts it down. He tells Pomni he was using her the whole time, and that none of it was real. And then he has a panic attack and almost abstracts. Jax pushes them away because he cares too much. And he's convinced that if they see the real version of him, they'll leave. And this fear doesn't just show up in his nightmare. And when the cast confronts Kane in the episode to buy time for Kinger, each of them projects their own personal trauma onto him. Ragatha tells Kane he never makes them feel at home and never comforts anyone, which is exactly what her abusive mother did to her on the ranch. Gangle tells him he never lets them think outside the box, which is what happened when she had to give up her dream of being a mangaka. And Jax tells Kane that he lies constantly. Out of everything he could have said, that's what came out. Which means in real life, Jax probably had people close to him who lied to him, and betrayed his trust. And that connects directly to his nightmare. The friends who laugh at him and peel his skin off are doing the same thing. They pretended to care. They got close enough to see the real him, and then they turned on him. His fear in the circus and his trauma from real life.
I never realized that these characters were the characters on the doors. I went from the door view. Not this. This is, it's sitting right there in front of us.
Are the same thing. That the real Jax underneath the suit was never worth sticking around for. Ragatha's nightmare is probably the most disturbing one. Her mother's silhouette appears sitting at a table and starts throwing knives at Ragatha, and one of them hits her directly in the button eye. We already knew from episode 5 that Ragatha grew up on an isolated ranch with nobody around except farm animals and an abusive mother. But the show never told us exactly what her mother did to her. Until now. Because earlier in this episode, Kane admitted that he designed every avatar based on the mind files of the person inside it that capture who they really are. So Ragatha's button eye was never just a cute design detail. It came from her mind file. Something happened to her eye in real life. And now in the nightmare, Kane takes that exact wound and recreates the moment it happened. Her mother throwing a knife into the same eye that's already been replaced. Maybe each one represents a word her mother said to her. Something she did. A moment that cut into Ragatha so deeply, it left a permanent mark on her subconscious. And the knife that hits the button eye is the worst one. The thing her mother said or did that hurt her so badly, it literally changed how she sees herself. Every knife landing on that table is another memory from the ranch. Another moment with her mother she can never get rid of. A rag doll is an object made to be thrown around and beaten up. That's how Ragatha sees herself, and that's what growing up with an abusive mother on an isolated ranch did to her. Ragatha getting stabbed has been a running gag since episode 1. She gets stabbed in the head in episode 2 and just asks if everyone's okay. Impaled on spikes, thrown into a deep fryer, and every time, it's a joke. Because she's a ragdoll, and ragdolls can take it. But not in the nightmare. Suddenly, it's not funny anymore. And when the cast confronts Kane to distract him for Kinger, Ragatha tells him, "You never let us feel like we're at home, and you never comfort anyone when they're upset." She described her mother.
Yep, so he said, all right.
Kane tortured every single player except Kinger because he was on the computer trying to stop Kane while everyone else was getting their nightmare. So we never saw what Kane would have pulled from his mind files. His original plan was never to delete Kane. He wanted to modify Kane's code to calm him down temporarily, until he could fix him properly. But Bubbles' pop-up started flooding the screen, and someone with the username ending in U and E confirmed the deletion prompt. The plan went sideways, and now Kane is gone. And without Kane, nobody can maintain the world. If there was ever a way to get out of the circus, it probably went through Kane in some way, because he was the one running the entire system. So Kinger's nightmare isn't a vision that Kane pulled from a brain scan. His nightmare is sitting in a collapsing circus, knowing that what happened on his screen might have trapped his friends here forever.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, man. Really good information. Really good information. I knew most of it. A couple new ones. A couple, though, made me go, oh, yeah, that's right. These are so cool. They really do help you with understanding fully, because there's so much to understand. People that are diehards dive so deep into this series. They analyze every minute of every episode, every look, every eye twitch like they are. We just kind of watch it. We're enjoying it. It's entertaining. The animation is mind-blowing. Everything's just awesome to us. And we get the gist of it. But these guys, the diehards, they break shit down hard. And then you're like, oh, wow. I didn't even think of that. Or I didn't even see that. Or how did that get past me? Like, no, these are really good. And there's another one too. But see, that did not explain this title. No, I did not see Jax killing Gangle whatsoever. Even no, not once did I see that. I just watched this, and like this part here. We understand Gangle, we understand. But where did it show like Jax was gonna tortured and killed? Oh well, no, he didn't. He was actually torturing Ragatha. That's who he was torturing the most. So I don't know how they got this part that he was torturing her. I don't know. I don't get that part. Anyway, I learned a little more, to be honest with you. I learned a little more. I'm ready for episode 9. There's another one too. There's another one. There's 2 that I got to check out. This is only one of 2. So I'm going to check out the second one now. And we'll see what that, maybe not now, but tomorrow I'll check out the second one. And we'll learn even more. I'll tell you, one of the best animation series I've seen right here. The Amazing Digital Circus. Take care. Peace out. Have a good night.